Good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss about the self from various philosophical perspectives. Before we even had to be in any formal institutions of learning, among the many things that we were first taught as kids is to articulate and write our names. Growing up, we were told to refer back to this name when talking about ourselves. Our parents painstakingly thought about our names. Should we be named after a famous celebrity, a respected politician or historical personality, or even a saint? Were you named after one? Our names represent who we are. It has not been accustomed to just randomly pick a combination of letters and numbers to denote our being. Human beings attach names that are meaningful to birth progenies because names are supposed to designate us in the world. Thus, some people get baptized with names such as precious, beauty, or lovely. Likewise, when our parents call our names, we were taught to respond to them because our names represent who we are. As a student, we are told to always write our names on our papers, projects, or any output for that matter. Our names signify us. Death cannot even stop this bond between the person and her name. Names are inscribed even into one's gravestone. A name is not the person itself, no matter how intimately bound it is with the bearer. It is only a signifier. A person who was named after a saint most probably will not become actual saint. He may not even turn out to be saintly. The self is thought to be something else than the name. The self is something that a person perennially molds, shapes, and develops. The self is not a static thing that one is simply born with, like a mole in one's face, or is just assigned by one's parents, just like a name. Everyone is tasked to discover oneself. Have you truly discovered yours? I know most of you didn't know about yourself. That's why these various philosophical perspectives will truly give you a knowledge of knowing about yourself. The history of philosophy is replete with men and women who inquired into the fundamental nature of the self, along with the question of the primary substratum that defines the multiplicity of things in the world. The inquiry on the self has preoccupied the earliest thinkers in the history of philosophy, the Greeks. The Greeks were the ones who seriously questioned myths and moved away from them in attempting to understand reality and respond to perennial questions of curiosity, including the question of the self. The different perspectives and views on the self can be best seen and understood by revisiting its prime movers and identify the most important conjectures made by philosophers from the ancient times to the contemporary period. For Socrates, this means all individuals have an impermanent aspect to him and the body, while maintaining that there is also a soul that is perfect and permanent. Plato also expounded the idea of the soul. According to him, our soul have three components: the appetitive soul, rational soul, and spirited soul. The rational soul, urged by reason and intellect, has to govern the affairs of the human person. The appetitive soul, in charge of base desires like eating, drinking, sleeping, and having sex, are controlled as well. When this ideal state is attained, then the human person's soul becomes just and virtuous. So, Plato expounded the idea of the soul, which he called the tripartite soul theory. He says that our soul is composed of three components: the appetitive soul, the rational soul, and spirited soul. So, our rational soul always seeks truth. It is swayed by facts and arguments. Our spirited soul refers to our emotions, how feelings fuel our actions. And our appetitive soul, it refers to our physical desires, our cravings. It drives you to eat, have sex, and protect yourself. The next philosopher we have Augustine and Thomas Aquinas. Augustine's view of the human person reflects the entire spirit of the medieval world when it comes to man, following the ancient view of Plato and infusing it with the newfound doctrine of Christianity. Augustine agreed that man is of a bifurcated nature. An aspect of man dwells in the world and is imperfect, and that is our body. Okay, so our body is imperfect, and of course it is impermanent, kasi dadating din yung panahon na mamamatay din tayo. Okay, and our body yearns to be with the divine, and the other is capable of reaching immortality, and he referred it as our soul. Ina said that a man is composed of two parts, which is the matter and form. Matter or highly in Greek refers to the common stuff that makes up everything in the universe. Our universe is composed of matter that made up of all things here in the universe. And form, on the other hand, or morphe in Greek, refers to the essence of a substance or thing. Okay, so like for example, in your personal or a person, your body is like a matter. Okay, and a form, your form is your own characteristics and personality. That's why it is very important that being a person, you have to act according to your form. Okay, so act like a person, do not act like an animal. Okay, act according to your form, because you have your own essence as a person. What makes a human person and not a dog or a tiger is his soul, his essence. To Aquinas, just as in Aristotle, the soul is what animates the body. It is what makes us human. Another philosopher is Rene Descartes. He says that the self for this is a combination of two distinct entities, which is the cogito, or the thing that thinks, which is our mind, and the extensa, or extension of the mind, which is our body. So kahit ano pa yan, gaano pa yan kalaki yung inyong katawan, it's just an extension of our mind, because our body is just like a machine that our mind is attached to it. Okay? So kung ano yung iniisip natin, then probably the thing that we think is probably what our body do. Okay? So, our mind, according to Rene Descartes, has a pivotal role in our actions. So, my question is, who are you? Sino nga ba talaga kayo according to Rene Descartes? You are a thinking thing. But what then a thinking thing? It is a thing that doubts, understands, can able to conceives, affirms, denies. He or she has a wills, can able to refuse, that also imagines and perceives. That is a thinking thing, according to Rene Descartes. Another philosopher we have David Hume. Okay, so the self is nothing else but a bundle of impressions. So, what are impressions? For David Hume, if one tries to examine his experiences, he finds that they can all be categorized into two: the impressions and ideas. Okay, so impressions are the basic objects of our experiences or sensations. It is an actual experiences. Like for example, when one touches an ice cube, the cold sensation is an impression. It is because you are actually experience that ice cube is or have a cold sensation. And that is an example of impression. Impressions, therefore, are vivid because they are products of our direct experiences with the world. Ideas, on the other hand, are copies of impressions. Because of this, they are not as lively and vivid as our impressions. Like for example, when one imagines that feeling of being in love for the first time, that is still an idea. Okay. So what is the self then? Self, according to Hume, is simply a bundle of or collection of different perceptions which succeed each other with an inconceivable rapidity and are in a perpetual flux and movement. So this is the end of our lesson 1. I hope you learn more for this video presentation. And once again, good morning class.